Hey, what's up, studs? Ryan here, or MandRproductions, with my review of the 1999 LEGO Star Wars Gungan Sub. Its set number is 7161. There on the top left of the box. It includes 375 pieces, and upon its release in 1999, it retailed for $50, which is about $75 in today's money, adjusted for inflation, which I think is actually pretty expensive for this set. I probably would have said it's not worth it back in the day, and for $75, I would say it's definitely not worth that price. So just keep that in mind. Like, kind of interesting that this set was overpriced at the time, in my opinion. And if you want to buy this set today on eBay, brand new in the box, you're looking at about $120 or more with shipping included. So could get very expensive for you if you want one of these. Probably not the best set to pick up from 1999, though. We'll get more into that later. One of the coolest aspects of the box art that I'll note is the giant monstrous fish behind the Gungan Sub about to eat it. Of course, there's always a bigger fish, so perhaps there will be another one that will come along and take that one out. The back of the box shows the Gungan Sub's alternative models, which is something interesting that LEGO did in the early days of LEGO Star Wars, kind of like those. And then it actually shows that you can break apart the Gungan Sub and turn it into some smaller subs, or one smaller sub. Kind of confusing box art, in my opinion. I will get into that later when I try to attempt to do that with the model, because it is confusing. And then it shows the model broken apart and the characters working on it in like a shop area. So that is the box for the set. Of course, 1999 box art, just pretty typical stuff on this one. But let's take a look at the instruction manual real quick. It does include some very interesting sections near the back. For the most part, it's a pretty normal building process, nothing special that I think you need to know about. But again, the back is where it gets interesting. We have a little comic here with the big fish eating the Gungan Sub, or attempting to eat it there, and then moving on over as they escape. And then we also have some more alternative models for the set. This is probably my favorite alternative LEGO Star Wars model from 1999. It's literally a mask you can wear. And if you don't think that's the coolest thing LEGO's ever done, I don't know why you're watching this video. Even more comics on the next page. LEGO went all out with these comics, and they actually have another alternative build, little fish there. They used to put a lot of cool stuff in these instruction manuals. You just don't see that as much anymore. And you have the same as the back of the box art here. So let's take a look at our minifigures: Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Misa Jar Jar Binks. First up is the 1999 Qui-Gon Jinn, and he's not exclusive or rare or anything like that. He's in a few sets from the year, so he's not exclusive to any one set, and again, just in multiple sets makes it an easy character to obtain. But this is going to be another set that he's included in. He comes with the chrome lightsaber hilt, green lightsaber blade. Looks good enough, I guess. He's got his crazy hair that LEGO made for him. Looks great. And then you also have the Jedi robes, brown legs, brown cape, and then probably the most disappointing thing is the slightly lighter brown than ideal beard. It just doesn't quite fit with the rest of the character to me. That's the most off-putting section of it, but other than that, great figure. Nice old hard cape there, so that will get bent if you're not careful. Next up is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he looks pretty much the same. He's just wearing a hood instead of having a hairpiece, and then on top of that, he does have a different face, obviously, so you get a couple differences there between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, but the actual torso print with the Jedi robes is the same cape piece, same brown legs. You do have the same chrome lightsaber hilt. However, Obi-Wan here has a blue blade instead of the green blade, and neither of them have a back print underneath that cape, which would have been pointless since they're wearing a cape. So good to see that they're not giving into my biggest pet peeve ever, is including back prints when you're going to cover it up anyway. So that's the Obi-Wan minifigure from 1999. Obviously, they've made a lot of improvements since then, so this doesn't look all that great, but maybe for the time, some people saw it and thought it was good. And finally, at the time, this would have actually been a really intriguing character, because Jar Jar Binks was actually the first minifigure LEGO actually made a custom molded head for. So he kind of opened up the floodgates for that possibility into the future, and that's kind of a neat thing to know. Anyway, this Jar Jar did not feature any printing on his head, unlike the future versions of him. I think starting in like 2011, they started printing all over these, but unfortunately at this time, they did not do that. So it looks a little bit like it's just missing some detail that maybe you could have painted in yourself at the time. Anyway, no back print you can see under there, just nothing going on. As far as the front print, it's a pretty standard Gungan outfit look for him. Don't really love it, but don't particularly hate it. Just looks old like it is from 1999. And then, of course, he has the regular old gray legs. Nothing special about him other than, of course, his special custom molded head. Hey, you idiot. That's not the Gungan Sub. I know. It's actually the bit of scenery that they include in this set. It's like a rock with some plants on it, and then you have a stingray on top. I don't love it. I also don't hate it. You know, it's a nice addition, but take it or leave it, in my opinion. We'll just put that off to the side. I don't have much to say about that. The actual thing, though, the Gungan Sub here, is actually a pretty hefty model. You'll pick this up, and it's actually solid. This isn't really going to break on you a lot, and if you have kids, if they're playing with it, it probably won't break then either. Like, it is actually a well-built, sturdy model built out of bricks and plates. Like, I think that's one thing that this model shines with is actually the quality of the build. It's very strong. That being said, it is over 20 years old now, and some of the blue pieces are discolored and might crack and break if you're not careful. I know Brickzar has had a problem with this, and it's definitely something I'm being cautious of with that in mind. Let's move on. There is a nice little anchor at the front of the set. I think that's kind of interesting. It's something you could actually pull the set along with if you wanted to. I don't know why you do that, but it definitely has the ability to hook a couple fingers in there and do that. The cockpits of the set are actually very well done. Now, while you are supposed to, like in the movie, they have all three figures or characters in one cockpit. That just didn't work in the Lego version, so they actually go in 3 separate cockpits, just not big enough space, but they're all printed. Very nice prints for that cockpit piece. Looks absolutely beautiful. And then if you open that up, you won't find any control panels inside that one, but the 2 rear ones actually have control panels. These ones open to the back like that, and it actually has that piece from the 7111 droid fighter. There you go. And it's going to be the same on the flip side there. Same little control panels. Pretty nice control panels for the time, in my opinion, but there you go. That is all opened up now. You can take whatever minifigs you want and sit them in there. Plenty of space for a minifig in each of these. Like I said, plenty of space. You're not going to have any trouble getting your characters in there and sitting them down. Close it right up, and we'll get Jar Jar in the final one here. So just like that, you can have all 3 figures inside the cockpit of this set, and I guess 3 separate little cockpits there. And the problem, I would say, if there is a problem at all, is the capes. The capes, because they're the older Lego design, there just are going to bend and do weird things, and you do have to kind of keep that in mind. You might want to take the capes off when you put these in, otherwise they're going to end up doing that, and you don't really want them to do that. That's not ideal, so I'll be taking them out right after this review, because I don't want my capes to be broken. Like, I like them straight. There's some nice translucent green, I guess we could call them blasters for lack of a better term, underneath here. I mean, that's what I would imagine them to be if I was just kind of playing around with it. You also have these little cables here running just kind of pointlessly just running, but I guess that would be accurate to what's in the movie, because I don't know why else they would do it. On the back here, you have this very large spinny thing that spins as the Gungan Sub moves through the water, and obviously it doesn't spin on its own. You actually have to physically spin it if you want it to spin, but it's kind of an interesting design with these blue tubular pieces that Lego has you kind of wrap around them. Yeah, I don't love it. Like, it's one of my least favorite parts of the design because it's just kind of flimsy. They aren't all the same length, which was actually moderately annoying for me. I don't know why they're not all the same length, but they're just not. Like, I don't get that, but they aren't. Another one of these detail pieces on top here from the droid fighter. You'll also find some very beautiful printing alongside the midsection of the Gungan Sub here. I think Lego did a great job with all the printed parts on this set. I think that's one place that this set certainly shines. Now, we can open these up, and you'll actually reveal a couple of interesting things in here. You, first off, have a pretty large empty space here, and I imagine if I was bored, I would probably put the lightsabers in there. That's just like a good storage spot for them, I think, because there isn't really, I mean, you have plenty of space. You can fit them in there cockpits if you want to, but that's where I would put them. And then you actually have like engines here, and you're probably wondering, what are these for? It's actually one of the, I don't know if I want to call it the dumbest feature on a Lego Star Wars set, but it's definitely like one of the most confusing, weirdest, like, why is this a thing type features. But I mean, I guess kids could enjoy it for play. I just don't see the use in it for me personally. Then here we have another thing, which is basically an attachment to the back section of this. Pull these on out, 1 and 2, and those things are actually going to attach right onto the yellow things here, just like that. That's why they have the little Technic pin in them with the stud on the end, just so you can attach them there, and you can actually spin them around. You're probably like, well, where does this attach? Because obviously on the back side of the Gungan Sub, we did not see any spots for things like this to attach. Well, the Gungan Sub is modular. Believe it or not, this Gungan Sub is modular. I thought it was a weird feature. It's not one that I necessarily like. Maybe you guys will take something different away from that. That's kind of why I'm showing you. But for me personally, it's a weird one. You can literally just pull this out, like just like that. It gets pulled right on out, and on the back here you'll see a couple of Technic pins, and you may notice, hey, this one has some open holes for Technic pins, so makes sense, goes like that. Bada bing, bada bang, all of a sudden you have like a secondary sub, essentially, which I guess the silver lining in this, and I say silver lining like it's a bad thing that they included these, would be that if you have two kids and they both want to like play around with this, then all of a sudden, hey, you take it apart and all of a sudden you have two subs that you can have them flying around. And when you look at it with the half glass full perspective like that, I think you begin to enjoy a feature like this a little bit more. But like I said, it's kind of interesting. They include these, and then you can pull this off and you can actually place these ones on here too. Now, first thing you have to do is drop these down all the way to the side, otherwise it won't fit. But just like that, now you have like jet engines on there, and I'm not really sure why this is a thing. Unfortunately, there's no like orientation in which you can really stack these and have it work. It just doesn't work that way for whatever reason, but it's kind of an interesting feature that LEGO included to create basically two Gungan Subs in one, but it's not one that I particularly love. And there are actually some rails in there that you can run the Gungan Sub in with there, and that's going to create a very strong connection for the Gungan Sub there. I'll open this right back up. We can flip these back out to the side, pull one off, pull two off. We're going to put those back in their secret compartments. Secret compartments are actually pretty cool. I actually quite like that feature, and I almost wish, and I guess you could do it yourself, that they put something else in there. Like, you could put really anything in there and have a lot of fun with that. So I definitely think that's actually a positive feature there. We'll drop one in here. And then we're going to have to take our little engines and drop them in there. So just like that, everything's back where it goes. And that's pretty much all this Gungan Sub does. I'm sure you guys might be interested. The bottom side is flat. There are no inverted tiles, which is another thing that, you know, just didn't exist really at the time. So that's something I give LEGO a pass for. But if this was made modern day, like as is, but they could add one piece, that would be the one piece that would have been added, I think, is those inverted tiles. I'm going to give this set a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's overpriced, or at least was overpriced when it was available. And by inflation standards, I would still say it's overpriced. I don't find it to be particularly aesthetically pleasing. I don't find any of the features to be particularly great for me personally. Maybe you'll find something different in this set, but for me, it's a 6.5 out of 10. It includes this like dumb small rockwork thing that I don't hate, but I also don't love. I'm just kind of lukewarm on it, and that's where I'm at on this Gungan Sub. I will be doing a comparison with the newer Gungan Sub from 2012, so I'll definitely be interested to see how they improve the model 13 years later. I think that would be interesting to see. But that's all for this review of the 1999 Gungan Sub. If you guys want to check out more 1999 LEGO Star Wars set reviews, you can check out the playlist on the end screen in just a moment. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.